Coming up on the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast, venture studio High Alpha lands a $100 million boost. The Infosys Foundation looks to close the digital divide with teachers. A makerspace is coming to an apartment complex. An uncommon treatment for a common cancer. The INnovators spotlights a STEM educator. A startup looks to reverse a growing trend in golf. And our insiders weigh in on the week's top stories. Welcome to the Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. I'm Andy Ober. Venture studio High Alpha has raised over $100 million to fuel the next generation of tech entrepreneurs and startups. High Alpha focuses on software-as-a-service startups in Indianapolis and beyond. Co-founder Eric Tobias joined Inside Indiana Business host Gary Dick to talk about the funding.
Give us, off the top, just a quick thumbnail of High Alpha. 3 years ago, you started, along with three partners, a unique model.
Yeah, when Scott and Mike and Christian and I decided to get this rolling, we saw a couple opportunities. One was to bring together a set of software executives and experts to help young companies scale. And the other was software companies need capital. Yeah. So combining those two was a really unique model, and we really were the first to do it at the time.
Yeah, and I think an important part of this story, you had a picture of the four of you, former ExactTarget executives, I think creating High Alpha, raising initially $35 million, and reinvesting back in and launching companies, really a legacy that is going to play out over many, many years.
Yeah, thank you. I think we've been so fortunate in our careers to be part of some amazing companies, and ExactTarget was a really special story. And the opportunity to give back and continue to do additional work for the community, but also for entrepreneurs. There's some amazing technologists here in Indianapolis, and it's exciting to go to work every day trying to build the next ExactTarget.
Well, you're in the process of building a number of companies. I want to talk about this big $100 million raise. But first of all, some 11 companies, startups that you've spawned now in just 3 years. Talk about some of the success stories, Lessonly, Sigster among them, but talk about some of these new companies.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of them. Lessonly, led by an incredible entrepreneur, Max Yoder. They're in the learning space and helping companies make sure that their employees are up to date on the latest and greatest things. Sigster really started with a novel idea of how to help companies manage their employee signatures, and they've really grown that into a much larger idea and opportunity. A company like Xylo, helping companies understand all the software that their employees are buying on behalf of the company, and how that software is being used and deployed. You know, what we really do, Gary, is look for unmet needs in business and how software can be applied to those unmet needs, and then we try to build a company around that.
And again, these stories, the stories you mentioned, they're success stories because of the expertise and in some cases the funding that High Alpha can provide.
Yeah, I think the ideas come from the four of us. They come from our team. They come from entrepreneurs. They come from corporations who have these unmet needs, and then we really try to utilize our experience to help the entrepreneur go as fast as they can. And part of that is having access to the right capital resources. And traditionally, that's been a challenge here in the Midwest. I think you're seeing that change, and we're proud to be a part of that.
Well, let's talk about what is next. As I mentioned, a $100 million capital raise. What will that go into, and what will that allow High Alpha to do?
Yeah, so we're hoping to start another 8 to 10 new software companies over the next, call it 3 years with that capital. And then those companies, as they grow and scale, they'll need more capital to continue that growth. So part of that money will be used for that. And then we look for the best opportunities to make investments really all across North America. Yeah. So we're talking with software companies from California to New York to Atlanta to Austin, everywhere in between. And we want to deploy that money to help those companies grow.
And a real focus, though, you are global in your view, but a real focus area, I think it's accurate to say, in the Midwest, in Indiana, and really the Midwest between the coasts, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. So of the 11 companies that we started in High Alpha 1, 9 are based here in Indianapolis, and all 11 are in the Midwest, one in Chicago and one in Minneapolis. So definitely feel like there's a talent opportunity and advantage here in Indianapolis that we want to take advantage of. It's an incredible place to do business. The government is so supportive, the cost of living is so low, incredible universities, there's great software DNA here in our community. We feel like we really have all the ingredients to really be successful.
Well on your way, already launching a number of companies and more on the way, I'm sure. Eric Tobias, High Alpha, congratulations and thanks for being here.
Thanks, Gary.
Still to come, a makerspace is coming to an Indy apartment complex, and an Indiana clinic begins using a new high-tech cancer treatment. But first, as Infosys continues working toward its target of creating more than 3,000 Hoosier jobs, the India-based company's U.S. Foundation is looking to close the digital divide among teachers. The Infosys Foundation hosted a multi-day training program for hundreds of teachers. Reporter Mary Rachel Redmond has more.
Up until now, the basics like learning how to read, write, add, and subtract were seemingly enough to build a foundational K-12 education. But as technology continues to rapidly change the world we live in, the basics are no longer enough. And with the need for K-12 computer science and technology teachers at an all-time high, Infosys Foundation USA is helping to tackle the problem head-on by hosting its first-ever Summer Pathfinders Institute.
This is why this is so important, because we are providing support in especially rural areas where they lack that kind of support. This is why Pathfinder is so important. We bring the teachers from rural areas, from underrepresented communities, and when they go back, hopefully they will be the roots of innovation and the seed that will create this excitement so that this can grow farther than what we have.
We hope that these teachers walk away excited to do computer science with their students, and that they have the confidence to know that even though they might not be experts in this, that they can do it with their students, be learners along with them, but to be explorers in computer science so that their kids get these important skills for the future.
And the accommodations for the nearly 600 educators? The on-campus dorms, which many teachers tell me will likely be the key to building a lasting community of support once they leave the Bloomington campus and head back to their classrooms.
Being in a dorm environment is fantastic for us. It's the networking. We go down the elevator and we just start having conversations and building friendships with these people because they've had similar experiences. There's already that camaraderie, that connection we have. And we know that we're all here and we're all trying to better ourselves for the betterment of our students. That makes the dorm the foundation kind of this entire experience. And then we expand upon that by going to these workshops. And then we go back home and take that home, and then we are able to share our experiences with other people. And hopefully we can build this national network of teachers just supporting each other.
Everybody is here with a spirit of camaraderie. And I think we're all coming together to make things better for the children. And I just can't wait till all of this gets implemented back in the classroom for these children to really become 21st century learners.
Mary Rachel Redmond, Inside Indiana Business.
Later in the podcast, a new non-invasive cancer treatment comes to Carmel, and the INnovators looks at a STEM education platform. But now, the Maker Youth Foundation has landed a $50,000 grant to design and build a makerspace at an apartment complex in Indianapolis. Residents will be able to use equipment like 3D printers and laser cutters to turn creative ideas into practical solutions. First Makerspace President Kim Brand and Education Director Mary Reinhardt came in studio with details.
Kim, I'm going to start with you. The makerspace movement, if you will. We'll talk about that first, for those who don't know, because the makerspace movement is really going like wildfire all over the country.
Yeah, on both coasts you can attend maker fairs with 100,000 plus attendees. Wow. I think it really speaks to the latent creativity and enthusiasm for exhibiting handcrafted art and mechanical products. From robots and drones to 3D printers, the capacity for individuals and in small communities like our makerspaces at Tech and Shortridge are unrivaled for bringing out creativity and critical thinking skills.
And this is really the first time, as we were talking off camera, it's being done in an apartment. You're taking the concept of the makerspace into an apartment complex on the east side of Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's right. What struck me was that one of the challenges in any sort of after-school enrichment program was transportation. And so why wouldn't we just put the makerspace where the kids live? Mm-hmm. And in a safe place, surrounded by the familiar facilities that they grow up and leave every day to go to school, they could come back and now use the makerspace to build what's interesting to them.
Yeah. Mary, talk about this makerspace once it's up and running, which will be soon.
Yeah.
What kids and adults will be exposed to?
Well, we're hoping to expose students all the way from preschool through high school and even adults in the community, and have it available for them to come to programs from 4 to 6 p.m. essentially after school, both doing programs where we have an outcome like making a toy or making a tower of some kind, and also having open making so they can work on school projects and other things that they're just interested in making.
But the kids, and again the adults too, are gaining skills.
Absolutely. Yep. It's all centered around job-ready skills and those certifications that employers find so valuable. We're hoping to certify students with the Indy Ready badges, which are 6 badges that the City of Indianapolis has put together for Job Ready Indy, and as well as the Governor's Work Ethic Certificate.
So this, Kim, you really see this as a pathway potentially for employment.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
We train kids all the time, and I hold up a ruler and I say, what are the little lines between the numbers? And they just don't have a clue.
Right.
And imagine being, in advanced manufacturing and looking for folks who can move into your factory floor with those kinds of skills that require critical thinking and problem solving. It's not just learning how to take a test, it's learning how to interact with machines. And so, using laser cutters and 3D printers, designing products. And Gary, I also want to talk about the entrepreneurship angle. We've used these tools in enough schools now to find kids who, after they make something, say, can I sell this? And I go, absolutely.
Yeah.
Find a way to turn this into an income stream, because these tools have traditionally been used that way.
Yeah, only have about 20 seconds left or so, but in terms of, this is a pilot.
Yep.
The Glick Fund helping make it happen.
Thank you,
obviously.
Mary Ann Glick and the CICF.
Where's it go? I mean, can you see other opportunities in Indiana and beyond?
Well, there's no lack of low-income apartment complexes, and there's no lack of kids who are struggling to do well in school and find a place for themselves in life. And we think that these making skills give them self-confidence, give them a sort of an agency that they can take into the rest of their life.
Very good. With the makerspace, an apartment complex, a pilot program on the east side of Indianapolis. Kim Brand, Mary Reinhardt. I know, Mary, you're going to be busy getting things up and running very soon as well. Thanks for being here. We're going to be watching the progress going forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
All right.
Remember, you can catch Inside Indiana Business Television on stations throughout the state every weekend. Head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com to check listings. Still to come, a children's STEM education company joins the INnovators with Dr. K, and a company looks to buck an ongoing trend in golf. But first, a dermatology clinic in Carmel is the first in Indiana to use a new high-tech treatment for non-melanoma skin cancer. The treatment is non-invasive, involving no scalpels, cutting, or stitches. Dermatologist Sally Booth joined Kylie Valletta in the business of health.
So before we get into this new treatment, give us just a quick snapshot of what the traditional treatment is for these non-carcinoma skin cancers.
Well, the treatment for non-melanoma skin cancers, basal cell and squamous cell, traditionally is some sort of surgery, either scraping the cancer and letting it heal or excising it, along with Mohs micrographic surgery, and that involves stitching, cutting, pain.
Right. So let's talk about this new treatment. You're the first doctor in Central Indiana to offer it, superficial radiation therapy. What is it and how does it work?
Well, radiation therapy, superficial radiation therapy, is basically a low-dose X-ray therapy that was specifically devised just for superficial skin cancers. And the X-ray photons are taken up more readily by the cancerous skin cells, and so just gradually melted away with a series of brief treatments, 17 to 20 times, and that no cutting, no downtime, no surgery.
So what are the key benefits? You mentioned, no downtime, but no scarring. What are some of the other benefits?
The benefits are that a patient who is on blood thinners or with tendency to poor wound healing, such as diabetics or immunosuppression, will not have to risk those complications. The patient doesn't have to have, as I said, the pain and downtime of going through surgery and scarring, that kind of thing. And the cure rates are similar, equivalent to Mohs surgery, 95-98% cure rate for these types of cancer.
And you mentioned in Mohs surgery, while that procedure is going on, you're checking during the procedure to make sure that you've gotten all the margins, that all the cancer tissue is gone. So how do you do that with superficial radiation therapy? How do you know that you've got all of the cancerous tissue?
Well, the great thing about this new device is that there's an imaging arm that ultrasonically images the cancer each time we treat. and we check to be sure that it's responding, and we can see the cancer cells are different than the surrounding normal non-cancer skin cells because they lack oxygen, so they do not show up on ultrasound the way normal skin cancer cells do. So we see the tumor melting away and then gradually filling in with new healthy tissue.
That's fascinating. So you mentioned half of dermatologists in the southern part of the U.S. are already using this. So, why are you one of only a few in Indiana, and do you expect more dermatologists to adopt it?
I definitely do, because skin cancer is growing, and gradually the word is getting out there about the benefits of this treatment. It was developed in the South, and there's a lot of skin cancer in the South, so I believe that it's gradually spread from there, and more practices have adopted there.
And you mentioned this is a great treatment also for people with keloids.
Yes. It's a fabulous treatment for keloids, or thickened scars that just will not go away, that cause patients pain, disfigurement, and that have been treated previously by cutting them out or injecting them, and they just keep wanting to come back. And we've got a greater than 95% cure rate by cutting them and doing 3 brief radiation treatments.
This is very good news for a lot of patients.
Yeah.
Dr. Sally Booth, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Later in the podcast, how to get golfers back on the course and perspective on the week's top stories from our panel of insiders. But now, Explore Interactive, a Purdue University-affiliated startup, is getting ready to launch a platform allowing children to use augmented reality to learn about STEM. Kids will be able to use mobile devices to connect. Explore Interactive CEO Amanda Thompson and COO Wesley Vert discussed the platform on the INnovators with Dr. K.
In your own words, how would you describe Explore Interactive?
Sure. Our product is a lab set that can fit right in your pocket. We use the latest in technology to deliver excitement and to children in terms of scientific games and experiments. That right here is a small device that can fit right in your pocket.
Wow, interesting. How does the innovation work?
Well, it's pretty simple. You go to our website and you can purchase this deck of cards, right? And then you place the deck of cards onto a hard surface, hold your mobile device right over it, and then it seems like the items that are on the card actually appear in real life. So it's kind of like augmented reality magic, is what we call it. Then you can move around these cards to complete different STEM challenges, as we call them, to learn about science.
Really neat, really neat. So how did you come up with this concept or idea?
Well, I had the chance through Purdue University to interview over 200 educators and parents from across the nation. And they really had this issue with teaching STEM concepts to kids in a way that was fun and engaging and got them excited about it. So we came up with this idea of the app to teach kids about science.
Nice, nice. What are the potential markets for something like this?
Well, so like Wesley said, we've been talking to hundreds of parents and teachers, and we've really found that they're out there looking for a way to give their kids an edge with science learning early. And they're also looking for a way to use the devices that the kids are begging for to actually in a productive way, so for learning. And that's perfect for us because our product and the approach that we're taking has been proven with the augmented reality that Wesley described to be extremely effective in teaching particularly science-based concepts to enable them to come to life for kids. So we're looking for that market where both parents and teachers are looking for something that's affordable, that's accessible anywhere and quick to set up and put down. Classrooms don't have a lot of time. Parents are at the gymnastics center or whatever and don't want a big mess, but want to be able to deliver these engaging science experiments. So we find there's about 25 million children in the ages 7 to 12 that we're looking at, and about 5 million teachers in that 4th to 6th grade age range who are looking for easy-to-use products that can really deliver a big educational impact for kids.
That's great. What are some of the capital funding sources you're searching now?
So we have been very fortunate to have been originated out of Purdue and the Purdue Foundry. So we were lucky enough to be awarded both the Purdue Elevate Foundry Black Award as a startup award, and then follow on this spring with the Gold Award. And we've also gotten some awards at some competitions that we've been at, including the SDI EduPitch Innovations Competition and the McCloskey Business Plan Competition. So that's been our past sources, and we're absolutely looking right now for angel and other area investors that are niche into this area to think about building out the full product.
Very good. And the status today? of Explore Interactive? Where are we at?
So our current product, we have a beta or a demo product that we've shown off at several STEM events and conferences and had great feedback. We've built that into what we call a sneak peek set. So we have the physical product pretty much ready to go, and it's available for pre-order on our website right now. So you can put your name on that list and get to follow us there. And there will be that product, if you order it now, will be one that will grow with you. So you'll start with our initial digital product, and that digital components will grow over time. And we hope to have a beautiful, fully packaged product for the Christmas season.
Very good. Well, as we do on each and every show with Dr. K, we do some Dr. K's prescriptions to try to help you out going forward. So I came up with the ABCs of growing an innovation for you guys. And the A part of it says attract smart money. You mentioned some angel investors you'll be looking at, so you want that smart money that they can give you guidance as well as the dollars. I think that's important. The B stands for build a strong business process, because as you build this out beyond the two of you and you start to grow, you want a team that you can build processes in there to actually scale this. And the C is create a trusted brand. I think you want Explore Interactive to be trusted by parents and teachers and all those interested in this field of STEM. So those are my ABCs for you, and I hope they'll be helpful as you go forward.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, great. And where can our audience find you?
So we have a couple. We're present on Facebook, Twitter, all the popular ones, but easiest probably is www.learnwithexplore.com.
Very good. Well, there you have it, Gary, a very interesting technology, an innovation in the STEM area for education.
Still to come, this week's Insiders weigh in on the top stories of the week. But first, the National Golf Foundation says on-course golf participation is declining, thanks in part to off-course opportunities from companies like Topgolf. The founders of Exclusively at 9 are looking to bring more people in different demographics back to the course. Executive Vice President Michael Reed joined Bill Benner for Inside Indiana Sports.
You're actually based out of Milwaukee, but you're working with Eric Wynn out of Zionsville. Yes. Talk about the concept. How did this all come about and germinate?
So the concept initially revolved around Exclusively at 9 being a company, a marketing company and a design company that produces experiences and products and services that are exclusive. And our first exclusive product was actually a partnership with Breitling, a watchmaker out of Switzerland. And they develop a timepiece for us that's a limited edition, 1,000 of those that are available only for Exclusively at 9. And we were able to actually enter one of those into a golf contest at a web.com tour last year. And we had a golfer actually sink a 50-foot putt, and the gallery went crazy. The director asked us if this was something we could do on a daily basis. And we did quite a bit of research, talked to many experts in the golf industry, found out there were some challenges that we thought we could solve with the program that would allow this program to be initiated on a daily basis.
So now you're at the fort, and again, if you register, pre-register, then and if you ace any one of those par threes out there, you get this $10,000 Breitling watch. Now, you can't watch every hole every day, every moment. How do you monitor this?
Well, we have state-of-the-art equipment, video equipment, cameras. They're actually powered by the solar. So the good thing about that for the golf courses, we don't have to lay any wire, we don't have to do any damages to the courses, but we are able to 100% verify all the hole-in-ones that take place on the course.
And why did you arrive at the Fort Golf Course to make this your beginning place to try this? Sure.
Well, we're looking for an exclusive course. The Fort is consistently ranked as one of the top 3 courses in Indiana. The Pete Dye course. The staff and the team at the Fort is phenomenal. They have a vast amount of experience, and they have worked with us as a partner in helping us actually develop some of the aspects of the program and implement the program. We're doing that kind of a test for the next 2 months at the Fort, where we're looking for ways that we actually can enhance the program above and beyond just the prize.
And quickly, nobody's done it yet, right?
Not yet. Fingers crossed. We're hoping for one soon.
Potential to move not only beyond Indianapolis, but to other Indiana markets, other national markets, and possibly into other sports.
Sure. We are absolutely looking after our test period to expand beyond the Fort. We will have one course. Our goal is to have one course in every major city across the U.S. and beyond. So there certainly will be opportunities for additional courses in Indiana, as well as in other sports venues such as the NBA. There could be a participation and an experience in any of those sports as well.
And back to golf, I mean, obviously the most obvious market would be when you're having a corporate group outing of some kind,
Sure.
right?
Sure. Yeah, and so one of the biggest opportunities that we see is to really increase the playerships at a course and really to drive up that average price per round for the golf course. And we already have had a couple group outings that have been scheduled at the fort. We had one on July the 11th, which was 11 days into our program. We had about 148 golfers come out affiliated with Rolls-Royce. And they had such a positive experience. They've already booked for next year, and they're anticipating upwards of 200 golfers next year.
All right, so if I'm a golfer and I want to sign up and I want to go out at the fort and hopefully knock it into the hole in one of those par threes out there, how do I do that?
You want to go to exclusively at 9, and you will book the tee time directly through our site. The site will mirror the site at the fort. The prices are exactly the same as the fort. There's no additional cost for the golfer, and you simply book that round and go play golf.
Well, you're 1 month into your business, and we wish you the best of luck. You and your partner, Eric, went from Zionsville. This sounds very, very cool. Michael, we wish you the best.
Thank you, Bill.
And finally, our latest panel of insiders offers perspective on Indiana's top business stories. This week's panel includes Clear Object CEO John McDonald, Indianapolis Colts Vice President of Special Projects and Historical Affairs Larry Hall, and entrepreneur and community advocate Danielle McDowell.
I mentioned High Alpha, the venture studio, raising $100 million in funding to continue to support startups and do what it does. Danielle, I'll start with you. High Alpha in 3 years, I think, has raised $135+ million, so quite a success story.
A huge success story. I mean, how exciting for our state. I think it highlights a couple different things that show how Indianapolis is really becoming a hub for technology. Number one, bringing outside capital into the state. It is a huge nod to our state that we are doing well, and people from outside the state of Indiana are putting their money where their mouth is. Secondly, I think it's a really great community win because we have dollars that are going into the upcoming generations of hungry entrepreneurs. So we have dollars that are not only being deployed to allow for scalability through their capital fund, but you also have the studio fund, of which they are going in and working one-on-one with entrepreneurs to give them the mentorship and the guidance that they need to launch and scale businesses. So,
and also the 4 former Target execs started this new fund to help help others. I
right.
guess. Yeah.
And what better than to tap into a group that has the foundation and the knowledge base to pass on that knowledge base to the next generation.
Yep.
I know at the Speakeasy that was huge for us. And I think that, this is just, we're in the beginning innings of this, right? So if you go and rewind the clock of what it looked like 50 years ago in Silicon Valley or Austin, Texas, I believe that's where Indianapolis is today, and we've got a bright future.
Yeah, and John, I think it's a venture studio, and now it bills itself as one of the largest in the world. But when you talk about being a venture studio, you talk about the High Alpha model.
That's kind of a new concept. I think people are really familiar with the fund concept, but this idea of a cultivated experience that has maybe a higher degree of success and outcome. And I'd also note one of the first wins for the Next Level Fund, the very bold program that the Indiana put together with the governor's support, first fund to announce that they're part of that too as well, which is really cool.
Also on the tech side, a story out of northern Indiana, the University of Notre Dame, that we had on our Inside Edge and on statewide radio this week. The Idea Center at the University of Notre Dame says it surpassed its goal for launching student and faculty startups. They indicated the goal was 16, they 27 in the first year.
Yeah, one of the criticisms that the team from South Bend has often heard is that their eyes tend to look a lot towards Chicago and not enough south towards Indianapolis. And so they don't often get on the radar screen in ways that they should. This is a profile raising move that they're doing. It's a wonderful thing. I had a chance to pop my head in and watch it a little bit. A really great first class kind of an event, and great for them to be doing that together with the university.
Do you think that Notre Dame, it seems as though Notre Dame is getting a little more, actually a lot more
they were all
engaged.
over this, and now they're beginning to learn that, hey, we need to have some visibility in Indianapolis and in this venture capital scene and entrepreneur scene all across our state. It's really great to see.
Education is a big part of the tech scene in Indiana and everywhere, of course, around the country. The Infosys Foundation had a major event on the IU campus this week aimed at addressing the digital divide in classrooms and kicking off the Pathfinders Institute, which really attracted Larry teachers from all over the country to come in to learn hands-on and really engage, then go back into the classrooms and again really teach technology maybe in a more meaningful way.
It's a big deal, right? Over nearly 800 people from almost every state in the country came to learn about this digital gap and how they can be closed, at least somewhat, because we're behind, let's face it. It's something we really need to continue to work on. I know in our state we've mandated now that this has to be a part of, the computer science learning piece has to be a part of the curriculum, and it's a very, very big deal, as we all know, going forward. Everything's technology-based.
Yeah, and as we attract and keep large corporations, large companies with financial wherewithal that have foundations, the impact that those companies have beyond the jobs is the ability to do things like this.
Absolutely. It's a very big deal for our state, and I think the genesis of hopefully a lot more to come.
Another study that came out this week talking about education. I'll get your thoughts on this, Larry. Hoosier graduation rates continue to rise. A report from the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. Graduation rates among Hoosier college students higher than ever, saying that 38.5% of students graduated on time. That's up 4%.
Which is awesome. But I think we need to take this news in a balanced way, because it's great that we're on the rise. We need to continue this piece. But obviously there's a lot of things that come from this. And one that I noticed to delve into a little bit deeper, those that go to a main campus probably have more resources available to them to be able to graduate in those 4 years. And yet, if you stretch it out to 6, it goes up to 59%, almost 60% of the people. But I do think we have a lot to do still in the low income and minority gap that exists with college graduation rates. So let's applaud what's happened with kudos to the success, but let's also look at the ways we can build for everyone and those special needs areas.
Absolutely. I mean, I think when you're starting to look at what it means to build a talent pipeline and look at not only the businesses that are being impacted by building a bridge between the connectivity between businesses and students, I think will allow for an exposure rate that will increase graduation rates at the end, right? So it's all about connectivity, giving access where resources are abundant, and continue to pull that number out from
as you look at college graduation rates, important certainly, but around the country, and I think maybe increasingly here, it's maybe not all about 4-year colleges and institutions anymore. An important piece, but there are so many other pathways from an education standpoint. Do you sense that is gaining traction here in Indiana?
Today, we need to understand that software developers, project managers, cybersecurity engineers, these are like the plumbers and electricians of the data economy. And we need other pathways than just a system that still puts 60% of its incoming freshmen behind the 8 ball and even getting out of there on time. Got to have other ways to be able to create a trade education system that we can really avail ourselves of as businesses in the tech business.
Yep. One of the emerging industries, if you will, in Indiana, the next big thing, according to some people at the state level, aviation and aerospace. Universities like Purdue, a big asset for the state of Indiana, Rolls-Royce, GE Aviation, BAE Systems, a number of companies in the state. Indiana Secretary of Commerce Jim Schillinger in the UK for the Farnborough Air Show, touting Indiana's strengths in that sector. As you look at traditional manufacturing and those types of things, there's a real feeling that aerospace, aviation can be kind of that next big thing.
Absolutely. I think that if you roll back the clock where we were 10 years ago in technology, I do believe that that's where we are with aerospace today. And so I think it's exciting that there are representatives out there that are touting what it is that we're doing, and we need those change makers out there talking about what's good, talking about what's happening, and talking about what Indiana resources are able to bring to the industry.
This particular event obviously is huge, right? People come from all over the world. And so I think the fact that you can put yourself in front of and face-to-face with others in that aerospace piece is a huge, huge thing. It's a very big deal.
Yep. Another investment this week in a traditional industry, steel. New steel producer opening up operations in Shelbyville, $50 million investment that will create jobs, a number of jobs in the state, 70 jobs or so in Shelby County.
Yeah, I think what's remarkable about that to me, Gary, is if you had been putting that amount of money into creating jobs just 10 years ago, 70 jobs, you'd had an extra zero on that. It would have been 700, right? And I think what we're seeing there we're getting this too as we go around the state and look at different manufacturing companies with Mayor Fadness and others from Fishers. And we're seeing the future is really a choice between less jobs because of automation or no jobs because we go out of business because we don't have it. And so, again, the future is about automation, and that kind of investment to be able to get that level of jobs is the new norm.
Yeah, we talk about new things, disruptive technologies, disruptive companies. Maybe the scooters, the electric scooters, been getting a lot of attention in downtown.
What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
In downtown Indianapolis, a lot of attention. A couple of companies came in. They were kind of banned, if you will. Now regulations are in place. Danielle, do you think that Indianapolis has its arms around this now and can kind of everyone can live together in peace?
Well, I think what happened here was, here are two young companies who are, startup, they're innovators. What is it that they do well? Disruption, right? And they break rules. And I think that is exactly what we experience. And, sometimes if you get into, the startup world here in Indiana specifically, maybe you learn to play the game a little too closely. You start following a little more rules. So I thought it was really exciting to see two companies come in, bend the rules a little bit and really show what value add their product had to our city. So being able to see how quickly and nimbly our government responded, I think was really a testament to the fact that they're listening to the people. And secondly, who doesn't want to have fun on a scooter?
Exactly.
Come
on. 20 seconds, Larry. Indy gets another Final Four. No surprise, really. They do it better than anyone else. Ninth Final Four in 2026.
It's an amazing thing, right? I think we have beautiful facilities here, but it's the people that make it. We talk about this all the time. People in Indiana are very gregarious. Obviously, the hospitality industry does a great job. The Lucas Oil Stadium in particular that's hosting it is fantastic. So not a surprise, but I think we should never ignore the piece that this is a big deal for us.
We're in fuego.
That's right.
We're on fire.
Next one in 2021, so just 3 years from now. Larry Hull, John McDonald, Danielle McDowell, thank you all for being on.
Thanks for having us.
That wraps up this week's Inside Indiana Business Television podcast. Remember, you can find all of this week's TV segments, as well as the top business news from throughout the state, at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. While you're there, you can also subscribe to our platform of free e-newsletters. This is Andy Ober for Inside Indiana Business.